Welcome to the 23-24 retiree video. This year we have 13 retirees we are honoring, and they have a combined 337 and a half years of experience. So another impressive group this year, and I want to thank them for their service to Seymour schools and to our children, and I want to thank you for helping us honor them by watching this video. Enjoy the video. Go out. All right, we're joined here by Mr. Greg Prange, longtime principal at Seymour High School. Thanks for spending some time with us this morning.
And we have be here.
Yeah, and we have a few more people in the shot today. Mr. Tammy, assistant superintendent, Mr. Steve Bush, the new principal at Seymour High School. And that's my first question for you, Greg. Is usually these are kind of one-on-one. What's the correlation between the three of us? Why do you think we're all here?
Well, I'll tell you what. I think you didn't have much else to do this morning. You came over for some snacks and have a nice little visit with us today and reminisce a little bit and go through some old times and just very, very happy to see you guys today.
Yep.
It's been a while.
How long were you the principal at Seymour High School?
This is 18th year.
18th year, and so that's kind of the commonality of the three of us is of those 18 years, almost all of those, some combination of the three of us served as your vice principal there at the high school.
I think about hired y'all, didn't I?
Yeah. So, and you've been a mentor for all of us. And, yeah.
My bad.
Yeah. So we wanted to do some storytelling, but I felt like we all needed to be here for fact checking because you tend to stretch things out a little bit. So.
Yeah, well, sorry. Yeah. That's the way it goes sometimes.
Well, let's go ahead and get started. Tell us about your history with Seymour Schools.
Oh my gosh, my history of Seymour Schools goes back to kindergarten when I lived on Windermere Drive, and what is now the intermediate school was a kindergarten for me. So then I went through Emmanuel, through grade 8, and spent some good years there, and went through Seymour High School after Emmanuel, and had a great education, both those institutions, and really it felt like Emmanuel prepared me well for Seymour High School, and those were the options we had at the time. And coming into growing up, watching athletics and being around Seymour's been a wonderful life for us. Went right into IU, actually, from Seymour High School. Had a great education at SHS. They had a good preparation for us, and couldn't have asked for a better education. Very, very pleased with what we had, and loved Seymour High School so much. Mr. Goodman and Coach Goodman and Coach Beck had an awfully big influence on me, and wanted to come back and give back some of the opportunities that I experienced myself at SHS. Again, coaching with some of my old coaches, and turned that into, we parlayed that into 40 years, and it's been a long time. I'm tired, but again, very appreciative. And throughout, 15 years of coaching, and got the opportunity to move into administration, and started off with Mr. McCormick giving me an opportunity to become an assistant principal, and do that for 7 years, and then 18 years as a principal, and very thankful for what we've had over the years, and appreciate all the help that I've had.
The culmination of every school year is kind of been your Super Bowl for these last 18 years. We're talking honor day, graduation. This year it was very moving for us in the community to learn of the establishment of the Greg Prange Scholarship. Talk to us a little bit about that scholarship, what it means, and what you were looking for in this year's recipients.
Well, you know, 40 years of 40 plus years going back to high school days, you know, watching honor days, it's very important that we support our community and we support our students, and it's very inspiring to have the community come back, and the Community Foundation and the Greater Seymour Trust Fund, you know, and a lot of families coming back and supporting our kids. And I think that's indicative of how important our school is to our community and our kids are, and to make sure that our kids have the opportunities to further their education. And I'm very proud that our people come back and help our kids, and you know, and even our community comes back, and the way our kids respect that, and they are appreciative too of all the work that they put into it, and it's very helpful for our kids in the long run, and that just shows how important our school is to everything and how we want to give back to our kids. And we want to thank everybody for that, the financial support that is given every year at Seymour Community Schools, and it seems like it grows and grows every year. So, thank you to everybody.
Thank you.
And for our guests who are interested in joining Team Prange and keeping Mr. Prange's mission going, we'd invite you to do that. You could check any of our school's social media and donate to that scholarship, or you could get on Jackson County Bank, the Greater Seymour Trust Fund, through their website, and you can give there. So we appreciate your consideration with that. Anything else you want to talk about or you want to cover today?
Well, I'd like to go back to the scholarship. Again, just very thankful for the opportunity to have my name on that. I've, believe it or not, I've had a very difficult time holding tears back right now.
Yep.
For various reasons, and it's not been easy the last two plus years. And I love you all. I really do. This entire community, friends, family.
Yep. Well, we love
We
you
all
too.
love you so much.
Yep. We love you too, and that's why we want to be able to spend some time with one of our best friends that mentored us for a long time, over half of my career, and cannot thank you enough. And that was one way that we're able to kind of honor your legacy and your commitment to our students and to our community.
Appreciate that. This has been very difficult,
Yeah.
but it's been a pleasure though. Every step of the way. I've loved every day I've got to school. Every single day. I've never ever decided that I can't do it. I can't. I don't want to go. I love every single day I went to school, and appreciate it. Thank you for everything, everybody.
Yep.
Thank you for your service to the students and the staff and the community.
Yeah.
I don't think I could. It's been tough going out this way. It's been very difficult. But God's will, God's plan, so it's ours. His will be done, not mine.
Yep.
There's no playbook for any of this, but if there is, you're writing it.
Yeah.
And we can't thank you enough for being so strong and amazing for all of us. So
Well,
we love you, man.
love you guys too.
Love you too.
Appreciate it.
We're joined here by Chris Bogs. She's a retired instructional assistant for Seymour Schools, primarily at Brown Elementary. Unique thing about Chris is she's actually been retired for a year. She just put in for her retirement after last year's celebration. So we really thank you, Chris, for just taking a few minutes and joining us today. So how has your first year of retirement been?
Been really good.
And of course, you're married to Dave Bogs, who Dave we interviewed last year, and Dave threw me in a pool for his retirement video. So thank you for not doing that to me.
You're welcome.
Well, let's just start off. Tell us a little bit about your work history with Seymour Schools.
I started as a sub a little over 25 years ago. Then Mr. Barnett came to me and said they were going to start having inclusion aids in the classrooms. Would I be interested in doing that?
Okay. So again, this was unique because you're already retired. So during the past year, let me ask you two questions about that. Number one, what did you miss most about school?
The kids.
Kids.
Yeah, you miss the kids, and there is a lot less adult interaction, and you miss that too.
Okay. And then, what are you doing in retirement? What are your other plans for retirement?
Well, we did a trip with our family in the fall, and then we spend a lot of time at the pool still.
Okay. Well, let's talk about the pool. I think you're pretty well known in the community primarily because of swimming. So you've been involved with Seymour High School swimming, but then also the summer swim program at Shields. Talk a little bit about that.
Dave's been doing that. Actually, this is year 47 for him that he's been coaching. So we do the summer program at Shields. We run a big meet in July. That keeps us pretty busy 10 months a year.
Okay. One more question. What are, you mentioned you were here at Brown with like Mr. Barnett, and you've been here a while. What are some of the biggest changes you've seen in education throughout that time?
Special ed has gone through a lot of different changes from when I started. We were split from K to 2 and then 3, 4, and 5, and we were split in 2 different classrooms, and you were totally segregated in those classrooms, and then my job was to take kids from those classrooms into the classrooms. Now they're totally included in their own classrooms, and that's a big difference.
Absolutely. Okay. Well, Chris, on behalf of the students and staff at Seymour Schools, thank you for your service and hope you enjoy retirement. Thanks for all you've done.
Thank you.
Well, we're joined here today with Sharon Wood, longtime PE teacher at Brown Elementary and other schools. Sharon, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
Looking forward to talking to you here for a few minutes. I know 2 years ago, I was in the room with your husband, Bob, when he retired. Can we get a quick update on Bob? How's Bob doing in retirement?
Well, Bob is making it look too good and too easy. That is part of my decision to decide to go back to being the dynamic duo at home. We spent so many years teaching together, and he loves just tinkering around at home. He's kept himself so busy. Our daughter, living a block away with her husband and soon-to-be baby, has kept him busy. He dog sits. The whole neighborhood knows where Bob Wood is because he's out every minute of the day and enjoying life. And ultimately, that was his goal, to get to do some things that he wanted to do. And I can't wait to be home doing it with him.
Yeah, glad to hear that. Tell him we said hi. Glad he's doing well. Well, let's focus on you here for a little bit. Tell us about your history in education. Like, where'd you go to college? Where was your first job? And then give us a little bit about your history in Seymour Schools.
My history is pretty easy and pretty clear cut. I grew up in Rochester, New York, and I went to St. Bonaventure. Probably our only claim to fame is the linear basketball player, but great school in New York. Then I came to IU immediately to get my master's in adapted PE. That brought me to Seymour. Seymour Schools had a great tradition somehow with IU. Dr. Mahan knew some people there. They're like, hey, do you have anybody graduating? And luckily I was interested in coaching because at that point in time they needed an elementary PE teacher and they needed a JV volleyball and basketball coach. I had previously met Donna Sullivan up there with some different things at IU, so things just kind of fell in place, which was ideal. Yeah. And then I came to Seymour, and I've been here for the last 36 years.
When I think of you, another thing that I think of is coaching. You've done a lot of coaching for Seymour Schools, and you've even done some stuff outside of Seymour Schools. Tell us a little bit about your coaching history.
It's kind of hard to tell you about my coaching history because that one is vast.
Yeah.
My teaching was simple. When I first came to Seymour, I think I already told you I coached JV volleyball and JV basketball. Then as I got married, I moved to the middle school. I think I'm the only coach who went backwards and then went back up. So then went to middle school, then had Emma, then we went to the elementary level, then we started moving our way back up. Tennis became our passion, truly because of Emma's passion and tennis. So that led us to some great successes, meeting some great kids and families. But the weird part of our coaching career for both Bob and I is we're college soccer players. Guess what? We've never coached for Seymour schools for some reason. Now, we did coach in the community, so that kind of gave us our fix and our fill. I just couldn't even tell you how many teams we've coached. It's been a blast. I love competition. I love working with athletes.
Earlier in the interview, you mentioned adaptive PE, and sort of related to that, Special Olympics. Talk to us about your involvement with Special Olympics.
Several years ago, I want to say about 7 years ago, Micah Albrand and I had a conversation, and I was sharing with her that as a high school student, I was involved during my study hall working with special needs kids. That was a passion, probably also the reason why I got my master's in adaptive PE. But then I'd help with Special Olympics there, helped with Special Olympics up at IU when I was there for the year. And how could we get our Special Olympics program here in Jackson County and in Seymour growing? So we decided to start the elementary champions together, coordinated that with Special Olympics, and it's just kind of evolved. Each year it's grown, been a little bit different, tweak this, tweak that, but I'm proud to say that Seymour and Jackson County Special Olympics teams are back to booming. We now have our unified track team, and I hope that continues, that we keep adding other unified teams, because I've really enjoyed working with our special populations, and that's kind of dear to my heart.
Yeah. If, in my opinion, if there's one thing that makes you a little bit of a local celebrity, it would be the bouncing bears and the jump rope for heart. I mean, you've done shows throughout the community for years and all that. Talk to us a little bit about those.
It seems like every place I go, somebody will say, "Are you the bouncy bear lady?" Or I'll be at the store now, and these kids will say, "Are you my bouncy bear coach? This is what, are you still?" And then when they say Miss Cody, I'm like, "Oh boy, yep, I had you a few years ago." But yeah, Bouncing Bear started because of Jump Rope for Heart, and again, my passion. I did Jump Rope for Heart as a kid. I like to find ways to help others. So when we first started Jump Rope for Heart here at Brown, we had a demo team come in from Columbus, and they did like a little program to get our kids excited. When we saw that, Jennifer Rayguth and I were like, "Oh yeah, I gotta have that," and started our team, and it's just kind of evolved. Going on and on. I mean, we've gone to competitions. One of our claims to fame is we did win our Midwest competition one of the first years we were jumping. But we've had so many kids, and our Brown kids are so proud. When it's Bouncing Bear Day, they're like, "I'm a bouncing bear." And not many adults will stop you in the community and say, "I was a bouncing bear." But let me tell you, it's as important to them as it is to me. And then, the obvious thing that with Jump Rope for Heart, we've had a lot of schools, we've been able to run it in all 5 elementary buildings at some point in time, have been able to contribute and give back to a good cause.
All right, those are great things to hear, Mrs. Wood. Anything else you'd like to cover?
Well, just as I get ready to enter the next chapter of my life, I really did just want to say to Seymour Schools that I've truly been blessed. When I came here 36 years ago, I had no idea. A young kid out of college, what's it going to be like? And I just want to thank Seymour Schools and the community for surrounding themselves around Bob and I. Neither one of us have family in this area other than our daughter Emma. And it's been amazing. You have become our family. You've become our friends. And, thank you for that time. Thank you for looking after us. Thank you to Seymour Schools for giving Emma an amazing education to make her a successful adult. And from the bottom of our heart, both Bob and I, thank you. So thanks a lot, Seymour Schools. The Wood family loves you.
Well, on behalf of the students and staff of Seymour Schools, we want to thank you and wish you the best of luck in your retirement.
Thank you, Mr. Hart.
I'm joined here today by Mrs. Sheri Dart, teacher at Emerson Elementary, who has decided to retire this year. And thank you for taking some time with me to talk about your career and other things within education. And let's start off and let's talk about your career. Give us a little bit about your history in education and specifically within Seymour Schools.
Okay, my first career was in accounting and finance, and I did that for 10 years, and then decided to make changes for my family's sake, and went to work for my local school, and fell in love with helping children to learn, and so I went back to school and got my next degree.
Okay. So thinking about education, now you're getting ready to jump into retirement. What kind of plans do you have for retirement?
Well, I look forward to spending time with my family. I have 5 beautiful granddaughters that like to come to Grandma's house, and my husband's retired now, and so I intend to garden and I quilt.
Okay, great. We're here in your classroom, and you have all the, your teacher strategies and different things on the wall. What kind of things are you going to miss about teaching when it's over?
Kindergarten through 2nd grade has traditionally been when we teach kids to read, and 3rd grade and above is when we teach children to read to learn. And one of my favorite things was always to turn on that passion for learning, to introduce them to something that they were interested in that would lead them into a curious mind.
Okay, that's great. One thing that's unique about you that I know that I'm aware of is you've had the opportunity to be involved in some professional development, kind of professional teaching institutes. Can you tell us a little bit about some of that?
Julie Kelly introduced me to the Colonial Williamsburg Teacher Institute, and that completely changed the way that I taught. I tried to make more hands-on, more units, more where students were using their own knowledge to come to their own conclusions, and it made learning real, and it deepened our relationships, and it kind of fed my nerdy soul. Anyway, so there are a lot of teacher institutes that are available, and I took advantage of as many as I could and worked with master teachers from all across the country.
So it sounds like that's something you'd recommend for other teachers to give those a shot.
And I would be glad to help anybody that was interested.
Okay, that's great to hear. What advice would you have for your students? You teach, middle elementary. What advice do you have for your students as they progress to, the next grade and intermediate, middle, and high school?
Well, one of the things I reminded them of quite frequently is never give up, and to develop that grit that's needed to get through. And so that would be my biggest word of advice, is to don't give up, keep trying, keep asking until it makes sense.
Yep. Anything else you want to talk about or you want to cover?
I have thoroughly enjoyed my time at Seymour, and I appreciate everything they've done for me, and I look forward to continuing to be supportive in any way that I can.
We're glad to hear that. Well, on behalf of the students and staff of Seymour Schools, thank you for your service, and good luck, and have the best retirement.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Good evening. My name is Justin Brown, and I'm the principal of Jackson Elementary. I have the pleasure of recognizing Mrs. Paula Duncan for her 23 years of service to Seymour Community Schools. It has been an absolute honor to work alongside Paula for the past 12 years at Jackson Elementary. Paula has served Seymour Community Schools since 2000, before officially retiring in August of 2023. In her time at Seymour Community Schools, she worked in just about every building in our corporation, touching the lives of hundreds of children in our community. You hear often that a position can always be filled, but some people just can't be replaced. Paula Duncan is definitely an example of someone who will never be replaced. She never hesitated to jump in where needed and always went above and beyond to meet the needs of others. Personally, I can't thank her enough for the support she has provided me over the years, and I will always cherish our friendship. We are so happy for Mrs. Duncan, as we know she is excited about the opportunity to spend more time with her family, her husband Lou, her 3 sons Michael, Jonathan, and Peter, and especially her 2 grandchildren, Charlie and Henry, who were born last summer. She has devoted much of her life to taking care of others. I always appreciated her reminding me of the importance of taking care of our families and cherishing the time that we get to spend with them. Paula Duncan was no doubt a model of excellence for Seymour Community Schools. She carried herself with grace and professionalism and devoted her life to taking care of others. The position can always be filled, but Paula Duncan will never be replaced. I know Paula plans to enjoy retirement by spending more time with her family, especially her beautiful grandchildren. And I know when she's not spending time with her family, she's taking care of her yard or working in her flowers. Paula, we just asked that you take some time to stop in to say hello when you sneak over to fill up the flower pots sitting outside of Jackson Elementary. And remember, there's never a need to take the lights off of a pre-lit Christmas tree. Mrs. Duncan, thank you for your service to Seymour Community Schools. Thank you for taking care of others. We love you, and we wish you the best of luck in your retirement.
I'm here today with Tammy Hubbard, elementary teacher at Jackson. Congratulations on your retirement. And thank you for joining me for a few minutes today as we ask you some questions. So let's just start off with, what's been your history in education and specifically within Seymour schools?
Well, Troy and I both were in college together, and we not retired, but we graduated mid-year, like in December. So jobs were hard to find, and we found, actually Troy found a job in Gallatin County, which is real close to Carrollton, Kentucky. So we moved, and Troy was teaching 4th grade, and I was subbing the first year, and then the second year, they were starting up a brand new early childhood preschool program in the public schools, which they had not done before. So I set that up and had lots of money to spend, was crazy, like $20,000 was my budget to spend. So it was a good experience. I had 3-year-olds and 4s and 5s. 3-year-olds special needs, and then 4s and 5s. So we lived there for 3 years more, 4 years total, and then we decided to come back closer to home, closer to family, and we moved back. Troy went to East Washington, and I went to New Albany. And so that's where I trained for reading recovery and taught reading recovery there 8 years. And then Troy was going, Troy then moved to Seymour, and he was going north, and I was going south, and our house was right in the middle. So we're like, maybe a couple people had asked me to apply at Seymour, and I was like, I really liked where I was, but I kept thinking, if it's meant to be, it's meant to be. So applied at Seymour, got reading recovery, so been here since, 20 years.
You were one of the teachers when we started the Al-Tech program.
Mm-hmm.
You were one of our first teachers within
Yes.
that program. What was that like, starting up a brand new program like that in a new building and everything?
That was a really good experience for me. It was scary at first, and I learned so much about technology. I mean, I knew about this much technology, and wow, it's really helped me this year too, as far as coming back to Jackson and using it here in the classroom. But it was a wonderful experience. I met some wonderful people that I will always have in a special place in my heart.
Well,
I was only there 2
appreciate it.
years, and I wish I could have been there 3, but.
Yeah. We appreciate what you did to help get that off the ground. So, have you thought about it? What do you think you're going to miss most about teaching?
Well, definitely the kids. Definitely the kids. And my colleagues, of course. First grade, when they learn to read and they learn something, that little sparkle in their eye, I'm going to miss that. Just mainly the kids.
Okay. My last question for you, what advice would you have for a new teacher coming into the profession?
Well, I feel like never be afraid to ask for help. It's not a sign of weakness. It's a sign of, you don't know everything when you come in. You can't know everything, and it's okay to ask for help. And then, just always be willing to learn. Because I feel like with the science of reading coming in, it's a lot different from the way I teach reading. And so I'm learning on my last year. You've got to have that mindset. It's okay, keep learning.
Well, Tammy, on behalf of the students and staff of Seymour Schools, thank you for your service. You've done a great job for us, and best of luck in retirement.
Thank you so much.
Good evening. My name is Lori Ann Wessel, and I'm the principal of Seymour Intermediate. And I have the distinct honor of introducing another retiring teacher here with Seymour Intermediate, and that is Mrs. Lois Bryden. Lois has dedicated a total of 37 and a half years to education. All of those 36 and a half years being with Seymour Community Schools. Ironically, she started her tenure with Seymour Community Schools at Jackson Elementary, which is now the same building that houses Seymour Intermediate. She taught grades 3, 4, and 5, and then moved to Reading Elementary in 1990 and taught 4th grade and 5th grade, which is where she currently is, but then moved to Seymour Intermediate for her final year. Lois has been a fantastic addition to Seymour Intermediate. She has taken on the challenge of a bigger building, more students, and has done a wonderful job. We will miss Lois, but we wish her the very best in her retirement. I have the opportunity and the privilege to introduce one of my very dear friends and ladies who welcomed me with open arms when I came to Seymour Community Schools. Her name is Susan Waltrip, and Susan is not a new face to Seymour. She has worked for the school system for 21 years, most of it being at Seymour Middle School, and the latter part being at Seymour Intermediate, and before then, Seymour 6th Grade Center. While at Seymour Middle School, Susan worked in the special education department as a classroom instructional assistant, and then moved into the role of being the student services administrative assistant. My time at Seymour Middle School, I can easily remember Susan pretty much running the show there in the office and making sure that student needs were met, making sure that the counseling department and the administrators were running smoothly, and that we had all the things, the assistance that we needed. And then when she transferred to the 6th Grade Center and then inevitably the intermediate building, she took on the role of the treasurer. And if you've worked with budgets and money, you know how stressful that position is. But Susan took those responsibilities and carried those with grace and did a fantastic job. Anyone who would walk into the office, whether it be at the middle school or the intermediate building, would know that Susan cared for people and wanted what was best for the school system. So it was with my great honor and pleasure to recognize Miss Susan Waltrip after her 21 years of service to Seymour Community Schools.
It's my honor to recognize the retirement of Sandy Cable. Sandy started her career at Seymour Community Schools in 2014 as a custodian at Brown Elementary. By the end of the 2022 school year, Sandy was thinking about retirement, but by the end of that summer, she was ready for a victory lap. That's when Sandy came to work for food service in what was then the 6th Grade Center cafeteria. Sandy's worked for us for 2 years, and during that time, she's seen us through the transition from Seymour 6th Grade Center to Seymour Intermediate School, and she's helped us overcome all of the challenges that come along with new construction and doubling our student capacity. We could not have made that move without Sandy. Now the time has come for Sandy to think about retirement once again, but she's still not ready to slow down. She has a brand new home. She's ready to make that home her own, do some landscaping, do a little bit of traveling, and she's also told me she's willing to be on our substitute list in the fall. Sandy, thank you for your 10 years of dedication to Seymour Community Schools and our students. Best wishes for a very happy retirement, and we'll see you in the fall.
I'm here today with Miss Deborah Carroll, Assistant Band Director at the high school, who has decided to retire. We're certainly going to miss her, and thanks for joining us for a few minutes today.
My pleasure.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about what brought you to Seymour Schools and what's your history with Seymour Schools.
This is my 11th year with Seymour Schools. Prior to this, I was band director at St. Bartholomew School in Columbus, and this opportunity opened up, and I was ready for a bigger challenge than what I had at St. Bartholomew. So this has been a really good fit for me.
Good. You think about the band and how it's evolved over the years. And I came the same year Mr. Cottrell did back in 99, 2000, that year. And it's just unbelievable to go out there on a Friday night and see how many kids we have. Why is that? Why is our band so popular and so successful?
It is a place for everybody.
Okay.
Even if you are a sports person, even if you're not a sports person, you can find a spot here in band with us at all of the levels that we have. So it's just a good place for everybody.
Okay. And what is your specific role within the band? We have nearly 300 band members, somewhere in that ballpark, and I know we have several adults, working with them. Who do you work with, and what's your role?
I work here at the high school with the marching band and with the wind ensemble. I also work at the 7th and 8th grade building with Mr. Horton, and then at the end of the day I go to the intermediate building and help with the beginners in the 6th grade with Mr. Rogers.
Okay. And folks watching this video may not realize we've not always been in this awesome facility. We used to be in a dark corner of the wing over here, and now we have this great facility.
Absolutely.
What has this facility meant to the program?
This gives us an opportunity to have everybody in one room at one time. During marching season, we can never be in the band room, the old band room. Our rehearsals were either outside or in the auditorium. This allows all 280 that are on our roster for next year to be in one space at one time and rehearse.
Okay. So, and I think of especially marching band is, awesome at the football games. We love those shows. Then we have the pep band at basketball during the winter. What is this time of the year like, sort of after those seasons are over?
We just finished going to contests with our concert bands. Then after that is over, we had a concert last night to showcase that music for our parents, and we invited our 8th grade to come and kind of begin their high school career at our concert last night. Now we're getting ready for graduation, commencement music, and also starting to look forward to what stuff we're going to play for marching band. It's a continuous circle.
Oh, okay. Anything else you want to talk about, or anything else you want to say?
Well, if you have not been in our new space here at the high school, please do. If you haven't been in our 6th grade space over there as well, come visit that, because that's just so much nicer than what we have had in the past, especially when I first started.
Great. Well, on behalf of the students and staff of Seymour Schools, I want to thank you for your service to the kids and to the community, and have a great retirement.
Thank you. It's been my pleasure.
What is going on, Seymour Community Schools, retirees and award winners? What a special night. Thanks for having us from Seymour High School. It is our honor today with Mrs. Bowley, Mr. Ritchie, and I to talk about 3 distinguished Seymour retirees. Let's start right away with Mrs. Anita Parsh. Mrs. Bowley.
Yeah, well, when I called and talked to Mrs. Parsh about how many years of teaching experience, she kind of chuckled and had to really think. And her first question was, in the schools, or what have this lady has been doing this since she was 18 years old, as a dance teacher, a coach, a researcher, a published researcher, but in the public school setting since 2001. So this is 23 years of service in total as a high school English teacher. But since joining us in the last couple of years here at Seymour High School, Anita has really and truly carved away and made a lasting impact here at Seymour High School. Her nickname of Sunny is quite fitting for her, always a smile on her face, and we have truly enjoyed having Mrs. Parsh here. One of the things that she has forged in her legacy here at Seymour High School is the development of the partnership with JCIDC and Ivy Tech, and that college career partnership and the resume building program that she has been very influential in and will continue to live on here well beyond her time here at Seymour.
She's been a great addition,
awesome.
And our only regret is we didn't get her earlier.
Yes.
We're going to really miss her. Thank you, Mrs. Parsh. Next, Mr. Fallis in the Social Studies Department.
Mr. Shane Fallis has been a teacher for 33 years throughout his career and 20 years at Seymour High School. I remember the day that we hired him to come and be an assistant football coach here. Shane has had many hats in the Social Studies Department, being department chair for many years, teaching A-Push and dual credit. And he has also been a mentor for several of our young teachers, with me included. He was my mentor teacher when I was a first-year teacher, and he has been a great asset to our school in the social studies department and everywhere else. And just a great man, very caring. Has spent a lot of extra time with our students here, and he's going to be a big loss for us.
Sure is. We're going to miss Mr. Fallis. Thank you for all of your years at Seymour High School. And not to be outdone, we do have one more outgoing social studies teacher, Mr. Scott Miller. He was a teacher for 34 years, 23 with Seymour Community Schools. Came over to coach the Owls varsity basketball team and had some really amazing years, culminating with a sectional final appearance, 2-point loss, I believe, in a sectional final. But his contributions were far greater than just being a basketball coach. His social studies expertise in the history realm will live forever around here. We are going to miss seeing his truck here at the wee hours of the morning. He'd often be here before 6 a.m. In his regular routine. I don't know who the next person up is to open the building, but they've got big shoes to fill. So we always get interrupted on here. But with that said, we just want to say thank you to those three, Mrs. Parsh, Mr. Fallis, Mr. Miller, for everything they've given to the Owls. Place won't be the same without them, but their legacy definitely lives on, and we're very proud to have had some opportunities to work with them. So best of luck to all three of them in their next adventures. Go Owls.